And let me now conclude with big moment of insecurity 2. So while you may not use my image of a guy in a rocking chair, I'm sure many have heard the adage, you know, nobody on their deathbed wishes they worked too much. And I have to tell you, I reflect on that issue a lot because at the end of the day, my most important things are not materials or the things I've achieved. It has to do with my relationships, with love. And I do this exercise not consistently because it's kind of a powerful and painful at times exercise, but I try to imagine that I had 10 minutes left to live. And the reasons are not important. Why do you only have 10 minutes? Doesn't matter. But put yourself in that place and think about what are the things that you would want to do. And what's cool about this exercise, if you can go there, is that it really quickly clarifies what's most important. There it is. Right? Are you going to be thinking about the fact that you drive a Maserati or that you graduated from wherever you graduated or that you achieved some great achievement? Or are you going to be thinking about the people you love? I hope and assume most of you will be thinking about that. And if that's true, then you got to make sure that like that stuff is integrated in all of this. Like it's okay to be insecure at the metaphysical level because it just makes sure, it helps me, and I offer it could help you, make sure that in the midst of all this stuff, and it's easy as an entrepreneur to kind of get caught up in this, particularly if you're in tech right now. I mean, we are in the midst of, it's funny, in the early 2000s, I used to see this bumper sticker. Is that what they're called? Something, yeah. That said, please God, just one more bubble. And, you know, it seems to be happening, you know. So if you're in tech and social media, I mean, Jesus, you know, it's easy to get caught up in that stuff. But, you know, just do whatever you need to do to be clear on what's important to you, because that also will help make sure that you're kind of aligning your life activities with that. So anyway, with that, if anybody wants to share any of your own stuff, that'd be cool and make me feel not so awkward. But thanks for listening. Anyone? Anybody? Yeah.
What if your insecurity just is so loud and keeps telling you, oh, this is totally the wrong business idea, you have to go in a completely different direction, and you keep running off in 50 million different directions, you need to focus. Yeah.
I actually forgot to mention that, because that's a big one, and that's an important one, although I alluded to it, right? It is certainly the case, talk to the Groupon guys, that you might start doing something and realize it's wrong, right? That's that test and course correct. And that's awkward if you've never done it before, right? Because it's like, well, this is what I set out to do, and I told everybody I was going to do it, and I don't want to change that. Maybe even got some employees. But that's when you learn to get really good at like reading what's clarifying what it is you're trying to do and whether it's doing that. So, for example, if you're in a business, the most important thing is going to be making enough money to pay for operations. Really, I mean, I have to say that. Profit, purpose, triple bottom line. Bottom line, though, if you ain't got the money to pay the bills, you ain't going to be doing it long, right? So, is this making you money? Like, that's an easy one, actually. Money you pay in, money you get out. Are you making anything, you know? And, well, why not? Well, is it the right market? Is it the right product? Is it the right team? Is it an execution problem? Is it a product problem? Is it a market problem? So go through that and then conclude what you may conclude. And it may be some or all of them are wrong. And then that's where you've got to course correct. But, you know, some general once said, you know, it's better to have a plan, any plan, even a bad plan, right? Have a thesis. Understand what it is that will clarify whether that's true or not, and then change it. and like be resolute about that. Anyone else?
Yeah, I got a question. How long would you had an idea that you were working on and you felt like it wasn't picking up and it wasn't gaining traction, how long do you think you would give it until it did or until you let it go? Is there any general?
Yeah, I mean, they're like two parts to that answer. One is the same thing, like, well, are you making enough money to keep it going? You know, if no, okay, that's a good let go of it. You know, so that's one. Unless you've got a thesis, well, no, I'm not making enough money, but I just have this advertising thing that's going to kick in, and so when that happens, I'm going to, you know, make a lot more. And okay, well, then wait for that. But if that doesn't happen, like pick, you know, understand. Always have a thesis about if you're not doing what you're supposed to do, then you better have some plan that will ostensibly change that. And then it's okay not to think through what happens when that doesn't happen. But when you get there, if that doesn't happen, then you have hard choices. Is there some other plan, or is it time to move on? But you know, then get back to the personal metaphysical. Like, if this is all causing you, you know, a lot of grief, then that's also fair to say, this is not, it's not consistent with my values or what I want to be doing. I mean, I ain't feeling the love, you know. So that's a good time to change too.
So, looking forward, what do you think is going to be the next big thing that someone would have?
Plastics, for sure. Seriously.
No, what course do you think is a good one for people to bet on?
I think this internet thing is just, it's going to be huge. Well, I mean, there are, I think social media is just getting its sea legs. I mean, I think there's a fundamental shift. I think just as Amazon kind of said, you know, here's how we're going to shop more and more, I think what's happening with Twitter and you know, to a lesser degree Facebook, like, we're getting information in new and different ways. I think commerce, social media-based commerce, obviously with Groupon, but I think that stuff is just really starting to take off. So I think there are a lot of interesting opportunities there. In my space, the housing market, there's great innovation on the material side. I mean, people are doing, really rethinking how everything that is used to make everything in the built space is made. And they're rethinking it to make it in a way that uses less resources, that is makes those materials healthier, that overall lowers their ecological footprint. So that's pretty exciting too. But you know, I'm not a great guy at thinking about, you know, what's the next big thing.
Are there any particular authors or things that you have delved into reading that have helped you get through those tumultuous, difficult moments?
Dr. Seuss.
Loved him.
Yeah. I mean, you know, I guess I total cliche, but you know, probably I've been most impacted by, you know, the Buddha. I mean, just his story, Siddhartha, just being able to understand, you know, this too shall pass. But also, I like, you know, my man did it all. He was an ascete, he was a hedonist and narcissist, did the whole thing. And, you know, kind of at the end of the day, you know, Bodhisattva asked him, you know, what's the secret of life? And he said, when hungry, eat, when tired, sleep. And, you know, I spent, you know, given my 14-year-old experience, I spent a lot of time, you know, kind of trying to understand the nature of reality. And I concluded that there is an order to things and, you know, probably a higher power. But I realized kind of later in life when some really bad stuff happened in my family that that may not be right. In fact, or it may be right, but like the order is just so beyond our capability to get it that for all intents and purposes, there's no order. But what I realized is there's no downside to playing your life, assuming everything happens for a reason. Literally no downside. If everything happens for a reason, well, there you are. You're doing exactly what you should do. If nothing happens for a reason at the opposite end, if it's just random collision of subatomic particles and, you know, lightning in the primordial soup that led to all this, then we are here for such an impossibly, a rounding error on a million rounding errors. Make reason. Go ahead, be deluded, you know, because that's it, man. So make your own great movie with, you know, the sweet and the sour. What I got from kind of studying, you know, Buddha and Buddhism was, and I'm not a Buddhist, by the way, but to just my spiritual work, I'm just trying to be as conscious as possible. And I know, and many of you who've had dealings with me know that I can be remarkably unconscious. I understand that. Although no JCPenney high water, no names for this guy. Although I should tell you, I had a whole genes like screw up 2.0, which I probably should share, but I that happened as an adult, sad to say. But you know, that's my life's work, and I got that, and you know, it helps with work, right? You know, I mean, I will say this. My company had its best year last year, and our first profitable year, and for very few architects and builders could say that about last year. Now, I think we were extraordinarily lucky, and I was pretty damn conscious that we were in a really, really challenging market. And that I got from my spiritual training, that I got from studying the Buddha, because I understood that we had a very narrow band to do what we were doing, and the market was extraordinarily unforgiving. So anyway, long answer. Anyone else? Okay, well, thanks, guys. I hope this was somewhat interesting. But, So please, I want to thank again the volunteers tonight, who I didn't thank before, and everybody organized. Please go around, bid on items except for the garden thing. Only I can bid on that. And hopefully we'll see you at an SBC event soon.